Hi, I'm Mel Hart. I'm a biology lab instructor and Associate Dean of Student Experience and Engagement at the University of Regina in Saskatchewan, Canada.
Hi, my name is Fidji Gendron. I'm a professor of biology and the Associate Dean Academic at the First Nations University of Canada.
Our campuses are located on the Treaty 4 lands. These are the traditional lands of the Cree, Saulteaux, Dakota, Lakota, and Nakota peoples, and the traditional homeland of the Métis Michif Nation.
So today I will show you some activities that I do with my biology students. I teach first year biology, and so in biology we talk about all different groups of living organisms. And when we talk about plants, of course, I'll talk about the different groups of plants, their life cycle, their structures. But I also want my students to learn about indigenous knowledge about these plants. So what I do is I invite an elder. Her name is Elder Betty McKenna. So I invite her in my biology labs, and we spend time with the students. So as you can see, we have all kinds of different activities. I like to have hands-on activities. So the first one that I will talk to you about is we make we make hand lotion with the prairie sage. So it's a plant that is native to Saskatchewan. So at the beginning of the lab, Elder Betty will talk about the plant, and she will share stories about prairie sage. Prairie sage is a medicine, and I want the students to, to have a connection with that plant. In the lab, I want the students to do everything. So I want the lab to be hands-on. So the way that it works is that Elder Betty is there. She's in charge of the lab, so she'll tell students what to do, and students will do everything. So they will manipulate the plant. One of the first steps that they will do is they have to grind the plant. So Elder Betty, of course, she will talk about how it was done in the past between two rocks. In the lab, we try that, but we also use current technology, so we will use coffee grinder. So they will do all the different steps, and Elder Betty will talk to them while they're busy. She'll share stories. So we also have, we're boiling the plant for the hand lotion. So all the steps are done by the students. We have different steps that are done by different students. And all the time she's sharing stories. At the end, as you can see on this picture, you can see little containers, little plastic containers at the back. Every student has, they get to go home with a sample of the plant, with a sample of the hand lotion. So during that day, they've learned a lot about the plant. They've learned about, yes, the life cycle, but they've also learned about why is this plant a medicine. Another activity that I do with the student is we have tea. So again, I invite Elder Betty. In this specific activity, we had prairie sage tea. So it's the same plant that they've been using in the rest of the labs. And so students are invited to taste the tea. And again, Elder Betty will share knowledge about this plant. This year, because of COVID, we had to do something different. So as you can see, we had Zoom sessions during the year. So in this case, what we did is we worked with tobacco. The tobacco plant is a sacred plant in the indigenous culture. It's very important to, for example, to give tobacco when you talk to an elder. So in that session, Elder Betty talked about why is tobacco so important in the traditional culture. And students got to do, they learned how to do tobacco ties. So before the session, they were provided with fabric and tobacco leaves because we grow the tobacco. We dry the leaves and we share that with students, so they were able to do tobacco ties. And of course, it's a very interactive session, so they can ask questions.
Another way we've approached ensuring our students hear traditional knowledge directly from elders and knowledge keepers is by doing recordings of plant knowledge they wish to share. Understandably, not everyone is comfortable doing a recording. However, for those who are, the recordings can be an opportunity to connect with more students than typically possible. As you can imagine, the calendars of elders and traditional knowledge keepers are very busy, so it can be impractical and exhausting to those individuals to come to the university for 5 or more lab sessions in a week to ensure that all students receive the same knowledge. Recordings also allow us to hear traditional knowledge from other areas of the province and cover different plants than found around our campuses. Saskatchewan is about the same size as Texas and has 11 ecoregions, so we have quite the diversity of plants. The plant knowledge shared covers a breadth of topics from ecology to physiology, so material can be delivered across multiple classes, allowing more students to hear traditional knowledge than if the material were only presented in one class. We've been fortunate to connect with elders and knowledge keepers from across the province, allowing students to hear from experts they normally wouldn't encounter in their day-to-day classes. An added benefit to the students of having recordings is they allow students to replay them in case they missed something or forgot what they heard. Many of our students are unfamiliar with learning orally, so they may need multiple listens to an audio clip or video to hear all the information that an elder or knowledge keeper wishes to share. There are many benefits to working with knowledge keepers and elders to document plant knowledge in a way that best works for them to share with others and to bring this knowledge into our classrooms. In Saskatchewan, Indigenous peoples comprise around 20% of our provincial population.
Another project that we have is we want to promote this knowledge about these medicinal plants. So what we did is we partner with a knowledge keeper in Manitoba. So we spent a few days with him on the land. So he brought us to all these different places where the plants were growing. We took pictures. We recorded him to have all the information about these different plants. The goal was to have a booklet, so we're working on that. A booklet that has all the information, well, not all, some of the information about these native plants and how they're used as medicines, how they're used as food. A lot of this knowledge is disappearing. The elders, some of them are, well, they'll pass away. So this knowledge keeper wanted to have a booklet so that can be shared with members of his community.
It's important that the teachings we share in our classrooms and labs reflect and value that knowledge. Traditional plant knowledge brings with it a respectful, sustainable approach to interacting with plants, something that is often lacking in a conventional biology class, yet is increasingly important to include given the environmental crises the Earth is facing. By taking the time to build relationships with elders and traditional knowledge keepers, we can ensure their voices are heard by our students. At the end of the day, that knowledge we share in our classrooms and labs allows a more complete approach to understanding plants.